75-year birthday of Uncle Len, and we have the start of the show right on the air now. And give us a quick synopsis of the 75 years, some highlights of your 75 years.
I was born in Shawano.
Next to the Indian reservation?
Right next to the Indian reservation.
Okay. Let's see, that would have to have been 12, right?
Yeah.
So that added up to 87. We got 75 years. Let's see. What did we have at that time? Were there cars at that time?
Yeah, we had a Chevy touring car. Had the first one I remember.
Did you have electricity at that time?
Yeah.
Electricity in the house?
How much did a car sell for then?
About $800.
Yeah. Let's see. Running water in the house?
Running water in the
No
house.
pumps. I mean, no hand pumps. Running water, right?
Running water.
In the house bathroom. Okay, and then we had two others in the family, right? There was Nate and Bernice.
Bernice.
Okay, so that's where we started out there. Then how did everybody split up? Where did we go after that?
We all went to Milwaukee.
Okay.
My dad worked at A.O. Smith.
Yeah.
And he was at A.O. Smith about 6 months before we moved here.
Yeah. Then
he was a pressure boiler man, and they were making stills for the oil field.
Grade school, you went to what grade school?
I went to grade school in Shawano, the 8th grade.
Up to 8th grade, yeah.
And then I went to North Division High School.
In Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Right. Same place that Nate went to, that school too.
Yeah. Well, I was on the Tatler staff. I was the chief artist in high school, and I got a scholarship to Layton.
Layton School of Art. Layton School of Art, right.
First there was art school and a job in the theater.
What's your first job?
Okay, in the theater, they were hiring students from the art school to do some work in the theater, and I was an illustrator. I did portrait heads. We projected them and sketched them out, and then you filled them in. And I did those for all the while I was in art school, and I did them for about 2 years after I was out of art school. I was in Army Ordnance. I worked at the Ordnance plant for 5 years.
Where was that?
In Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Well, I worked 2 of them.
Is that over on Silver Spring?
Yeah, on Silver Spring, the big.
That was World War II.
World War II. Oops, oopsie. Yeah, I was in World War II. And then at the end of World War II, when we were finished, we were making 1 million rounds a shift. And I went to Alice Chalmers, where they were working on the reactor for the atomic bomb. And I never knew. I did station there, and I never knew what they were making. Neither did other employees know what they were. And then from Alice Chalmers, I was on the National Safety Committee, and I met Menzel in Chicago. He came up to see me, and he told me to come to Stevens Point and interview them, and but there was a possibility that I would start a department there.
Okay, now Menzel was with what?
Harbor Mutual. When he hired me before I left the place, and I was supposed to start the first of the year, I guess. And when I told Alice Chalmers I was ready to leave, they were all in a turmoil. They didn't have anybody to replace me, so I stayed on 3 months longer, and then Harbor Mutual took me. And I traveled all over the United States teaching their safety managers my program.
When you involved with the skid testing for the national?
Yeah, that was when I was in Loss Prevention. I worked for the National Safety Council on skid testing.
That was done at the airport?
That was done at the airport in Clintonville, and the four-wheel drive over there conducted the program.
And how many years did you work on that?
All the while I was in loss prevention. We worked in the winter time when there was ice on the lake.
And what role did you play in that?
Keeping data on all the trucks, the tires, and writing out the data and writing out the tests that were made.
There's probably been a lot of high points, you know, in the 75 years. Is there one that sticks out?
Well, I won the National Safety Council Award for loss prevention for 5 years in a row. Then they put me in research, doing commercial research. And I traveled down to Florida, did research on citrus industry, which we wrote about 85% of it at that time, and we cut it down to 50% after I got through looking at it.
About what year was this?
The part we're talking about when I did research for the company must have been about 50. Then I stayed in that until one day the vice president called me in and said, "Walters, you're an advertising man and we need somebody in our advertising department." The present advertising manager wasn't doing so well. And then I started there, and I worked for 5 years in the company's advertising department.
You were always doing the artwork, your personal artwork.
Yeah, I didn't really start working until I retired. Then I worked day and night. I must have developed 1,000 pieces, at least 1,000 pieces. Some of them are here. You got some. I sold quite a few, about a couple of hundred anyhow.